Good evening from Eric Brown. Welcome to another edition of Let's Talk. With me here in the studio are Marie and Tom. Hello, Marie. Hello, Tom.
Hello,
Eric.
Well, today, let's talk. Let's talk about what, Marie?
Low-cost airlines.
Very interesting.
You're right, Eric. You know, there are 90 low-cost airlines in Europe today.
Really? So many?
Yes, that's right. 90. Lots of people fly with low-cost airlines.
Of course. It's very cheap to fly with these airlines.
It's not always cheap, Marie. It's cheap to fly midweek on Tuesday, Wednesday or Thursday, but it's not cheap to fly at weekends on Saturday or Sunday.
But are the planes safe?
Yes, the planes are usually new, so they are safe.
That's good. It's important to fly in safe planes. And what about the tickets? Is it easy to find them?
Yes, it's very easy. I usually buy my tickets online with my credit card. Well, I travel a lot.
Really? You're a real expert on low-cost airlines, Marie, aren't you?
Yes, I am. My boyfriend lives in Berlin.
Oh, and how often do you visit him?
I go to see him twice a month.
Oh, I see. And are the flights on time?
Yes, they're usually on time. I leave work at 5:30 in the afternoon and arrive at the airport at 6. Perfect for the check-in.
That's very convenient. You're lucky, Marie. Usually low-cost flights leave from airports a long way from the city. What time's your flight?
At 7 o'clock.
You're really lucky, Marie. Usually low-cost flights leave late at night or early in the morning when it's not convenient.
Yes, that's true. And yes, I am very lucky.
Is there any food on the plane?
Yes, passengers buy drinks and snacks.
Remember, the drinks and snacks aren't free. You have to pay even for a glass of water.
That's true, but it doesn't matter. I arrive in Berlin at 8:30, just in time for a pizza with my boyfriend at Bella Napoli. A very good pizzeria, the best one in Berlin.
Oh, that's great. But for us, it's time to say goodbye. Okay, low-cost airlines. Today, there are many low-cost airlines throughout Europe. They are very easy to use, and they are cheap. And the planes are safe, and they are usually on time. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Thank you, Marie.
Thank you.
And thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
And goodbye. And see you again soon on another edition of Let's Talk. Well, low-cost airlines really make traveling easy. For many people, flying is very simple, like taking a bus. Now let's take a look at some very useful vocabulary and expressions you just heard. The check-in is the place where you show your passport and leave your luggage. In English, it is also a verb. We say, I check in at 7, or where's the check-in for Berlin? When we talk about cheap prices, we mean it doesn't cost very much, and expensive means it costs a lot. My ticket to Berlin is 600 euros. It's expensive. Your ticket is 100 euros. It's cheap. Her ticket is 30 euros. That's very cheap. To say what airline we use, we say fly with, followed by the name of the airline. I fly with Air Liverpool, or the type of airline. I fly with low-cost airlines. And what about when you want to ask if the plane is late? We can say, are the flights on time? If the flight is at 7 and it goes at 7, it is on time. But if the flight is at 7 and it goes at 10, it's late. Marie said, I buy my tickets online. This means she uses the internet to buy her ticket. What other things can you do online? Here are some examples. I reserve hotel rooms online. I don't call the hotel on the phone to reserve a room. I use the internet. I check my bank account online. I use the internet to see how much money I have in my account. I pay my bills online. I use the internet to pay the electricity bill, the water bill, the gas bill. Wow, we can really do a lot of things online. Okay, just two more things before we say goodbye. The first is frequency. When we say how often we do something, I asked Marie, how often do you visit him? And she said twice a month. Twice a month means 2 times in a month. Once a month means 1 time in a month. But when we do something more than 2 times, we say 3 times a month, 4 times a month, etc. Even if we change the period of time, the structure of frequency remains the same. For example, we can say once a day, twice a week. But remember, we say 3 times a year, 4 times a week. One last thing. Notice the preposition after arrive. When we arrive in a place like a station, airport, shop, we say, I arrive at the airport at 6. But when we arrive in a city or country, we say, I arrive in Berlin at 8:30. So, we say, I arrive at the station, I arrive at the airport, but I arrive in London or I arrive in Madrid. That's about it for now. Take care and see you soon. Good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to Sports Special, the program dedicated to all sports and all sports fans. I'm Eric Brown. In the studio with me is John Forbes, our sports expert. Well, John, what are you talking about this afternoon?
Football.
Great, my favorite sport.
It's not only your favorite sport, Eric. Millions of people love football.
Of course. It's a fantastic game, the best in the world.
Well, maybe, but remember, Eric, football isn't only about fame, success, and money.
Oh, a lot of money. Professional footballers earn millions of euros.
That's true, but football is also about hard work, fitness training, stretching, and jogging almost every day.
Really? How often do professional players train?
They go jogging every day at 8 in the morning, and then they work out in the gym.
Ah, so much exercise.
And that's not all.
Really? What do you mean?
Well, they also practice football 3 or 4 times a week with the team.
And where do they train?
They usually do fitness training at the football ground. First they do stretching, then they practice shooting.
Is the coach with them during the training?
Yes, of course. The coach is very important for the team. He shows the players good techniques for passing, dribbling and heading. And he decides who plays in the matches.
How many matches are there in a football championship?
30, more or less. You know, football championships take place in the winter, usually from September until June.
And when do they play matches?
At weekends, but the big clubs also play during the week for the European Cups.
Oh, championships, European Cups, training. Footballers are very busy.
Yes, they are. The only time they rest is in the summer.
Well, holidays only in the summer. But what about fun? For example, can the players have a beer after a match?
Of course, Eric, especially if they win. A beer is a perfect way to celebrate a victory.
Well, a footballer's training routine is very hard, but it is very rewarding too. Okay, thanks to our expert, John Forbes. And goodbye to all football fans and sports lovers. See you again soon for a new edition of Sports Special. First of all, football and soccer are the same thing. Football is the British word, and soccer is the American form. But they are exactly the same thing. So, let's take a look at some of the vocabulary we use to talk about football. Do you like football? If you do, then you are a football fan, like me. Do you support a team? I support Inter. We say that we support a team when we are a fan of that team. So, what is a team? It's the group of players that play together. For example, Manchester United is a football team. A person who plays football as a job is called a professional footballer or a professional football player. Footballer and football player are the same thing. A football player is a footballer. And every team has a coach. A coach is the person who prepares the team. He teaches techniques and how to play well. So, 11 football players make a team, and when two teams play against each other, they play a match. But as John told us, footballers don't only play matches, they do a lot of training. Training is all the exercises they do to prepare for matches. We can say, footballers do training, or footballers train. Training is the noun, and train is the verb. And what do they do when they train? John said a few. They work out in the gym. They do stretching. They go jogging. And they practice football skills. John also mentions some of the skills or techniques that footballers practice. Passing, which means to pass or kick the ball to another player. Dribbling, which means to move the ball forward with the ball. Shooting, which means to shoot or kick the ball into the goal. And heading, which means to hit the ball with your head. It's a lot of hard work. I think they definitely deserve a beer when they win. Well, that's all from me for now. Take it easy.